Dollar. Dirt and money, no soul. Had to go and get it, ain't no time to kick it. Got a stack and flip for my foes. Dollar. Please tell me you can hear me. Don't turn your back and don't neglect me. Just let me know if you need me. Dollar. Let me watch out for my partners. Keep my money long, get my team strong. Let me run away from my problems.
Yo, what's good, original crew, man? We're back. Hey, man, we're back on the channel, bro. We got another talking head, right? A talking head, yeah. We got people who people who snapped and killed apex predators barehanded.
Whoa.
You think you'd do something like that?
No.
I know you could. Hey, with that being said, before we get into it, make sure you check out the links in the description box.
Down below.
You already know where to go. If you want the first part, you got to do it. Check out down below. Also, if you enjoyed today's video,
like it with a thumbs up.
You never know what you can do until you're in that situation, though. If you ever get in that situation, you might.
It depends on what it is, child.
You never know, man. Let's go, baby. Let's check it out. Let's see what it's about.
The Granny Incident. On a farm in rural Russia, 2012, a Russian grandma heard loud crying and whimpers outside of her home. Confused, she quickly ran outside to see what was going on. There, she was met with the grisly scene of a Eurasian wolf covered in blood while eating one of the grandma's baby cows. These wolves aren't like normal ones due to the Bergmann's rule. This rule states that animals in colder regions evolve larger body sizes to stay warm. A male Eurasian wolf weighs anywhere from 150 to 170 pounds. With that being said, any normal person would probably just lock themselves in their house and call police officers or something. But the grandma was unfazed. Her people have survived Soviet winters, food shortages, and probably World War II. So for her, a wolf was just another Tuesday. While the wild animal was trying to tear the calf apart, the grandma began roaring at it in an attempt to scare it off. But unbeknownst to her, the wolf had rabies and was manic. So instead of running away, the beast lunged at the grandma, going straight for her throat. However, she immediately punched the animal in the snout, causing it to bite onto her left hand instead.
Oh, no.
She tried to open up the wolf's mouth so that she could shove her hand down its throat.
What?
That probably sounds like a random thing to do in this situation, but hunters and herders sometimes use this tactic because apparently larger animals have really bad gag reflexes. Unfortunately for her, however, the wolf's jaws were locked tight, and she wouldn't be able to get them open because it began thrashing her hand around. So instead, she switched gears to her backup plan. Punching. She kept on punching and punching and punching the wolf until it decided to go tear away at her legs. To be fair, she's 56 years old and fighting a wolf, so when the wolf began dragging her by the legs, that's when she realized she needed a weapon, and luckily for her, her trusty axe was nearby. While the wolf was busy munching on her feet, the grandma raised her axe high above her shoulders and split the wolf's head in two. Then she did it again, then she did it one more time for good measure. She was taken to the hospital where remarkably her injuries weren't too severe. If you're a wolf and watching this video, then my advice to you is, don't try to eat Russian grandmas. They're not prey. They're more like Elden Ring bosses. Also, to add to that, don't try to eat these next types of people either. The dad incident. In 2021, a father in Karnataka, India, was riding back home on his motorcycle in a forest. As is common in certain regions of India and other countries, the father was riding with his wife on the back of his bike while she carried their It was nearing nighttime, and after the family finished their work for the day, they were headed back to their village to relax. Their fatigued eyes squinted hard through the rural road they were on together. They tiredly blinked at it again and again until they noticed the motorcycle got heavier. The man's wife looked down at the she was carrying, and in the blink of an eye, she realized that there was now a full-grown leopard biting down on her kid's leg.
Oh, no.
Yuck. A 160-pound wildcat was latched onto the and trying to run off into the forest with it, all while on a motorcycle. The mother screamed and pulled back her from the grip of the leopard's teeth, provoking the beast in the process. It quickly pounced and swiped at her in retaliation, prompting the man to increase the speed on his bike so that they could outpace the cat. But unfortunately, his motorcycle wasn't fast enough to escape the animal, because it quickly bit onto the leg of his kid again. Out of pure instinct, while still riding the motorcycle, the father began elbowing the leopard to get it off their child. The cat swiped up at him, causing him to crash the vehicle. However, before the leopard could run away with the child, the father grabbed the animal by its throat. Yeah. and while it quickly let go of his kid, the two of them fell into a wrestling match. Leopards are exceptionally lethal predators, with the ability to vertically jump 10 feet into the air and casually drag 200 pounds up into trees with them. There are even videos of leopards plummeting from 300 feet, shaking it off, and continuing to hunt their prey. And here, this 30-something-year-old man was wrestling one with his hands gripped tightly around its throat. The leopard thrashed him around. Its claws tore into his arms, chest, and split his face. But still, he didn't let go, because he knew if he did, it'd slaughter his family. So he did something absolutely insane. Mid-wrestle match, he positioned the leopard into a chokehold with both of his arms.
Come on.
These cats have necks that are thick with muscle designed to support their ability to carry heavy prey up trees. So, honestly, for a human, trying to strangle this wildcat
True.
is pretty much like trying to choke out a tree trunk. Neighbors in nearby villages finally heard the commotion from the attack and quickly ran in the direction of the screaming family. But when they arrived, it seemed that they were already late to the party because what they witnessed had everybody in pure disbelief. They saw a man sitting on the floor, covered in blood, and in front of him laid a motionless leopard. Everybody was taken to the hospital for their injuries, and the only casualty of the event was the leopard. The Florida man incident. Everything was
He proving that these stories real too. Golly. Killed
That's what you ain't about to do is take my baby
the
and
leopard
try to
with your
hurt my
burnt
family.
hand.
Yeah.
Nobody gonna fuck with you no more in life.
normal for a Floridian family on a sunny beach
Yeah,
day
on every
on July
block.
6th, 2001, Pensacola. A 30-year-old uncle laid back peacefully on his beach towel, tanning in the sun while everyone had fun around him. He sat up to look around and take in the moment. He saw volleyballs being thrown, sandcastles being built, and his 8-year-old nephew getting torn apart by a bull shark in the water.
Oh, no.
Then he laid back down and relaxed, because life was good. Yeah, no. Upon realizing what he just saw, the man immediately leapt up from his beach towel and began sprinting full speed towards the water. People began screaming, "Shark!" and started running away from the waters, but the uncle was still sprinting towards the bull shark that was actively swimming away with his nephew in its mouth. Bull sharks are one of the, if not, the most aggressive shark species on the planet. They weigh anywhere from 200 to 700 pounds. They often hunt in shallow waters and are believed to have the most testosterone of any animal on the entire planet. So what do you think this Florida man did when he finally spotted the bull shark in the water? Well, he leapt on top of it. Yeah. After taking a good look at the 7-foot, 400-pound beast, he jumped on it inside of the water and began punching it in the face to rescue his nephew. Fortunately for both of them, the shark actually let go of the boy. However, it bit off his arm and started swimming off with it in its mouth. Now, what do you suppose the Florida man did at this point?
Ran back and get that arm.
He jumped back into action and began wrestling the bull shark underwater for his son's arm. The shark and the man fell into a tug-of-war match where the shark tried swimming off into deeper waters and the uncle tried desperately to pull it back onto shore. The man tugged, twisted, and pulled. The shark was trying to get away, but he didn't let go. I don't know how, but the psychopath literally pulled the shark back onto the beach, then pried its jaws open with his bare hands and ripped his nephew's severed arm out of its mouth. The arm was still intact. A local fisherman on a boat nearby noticed the commotion happening on the beach. He pulled out his rifle and took aim, and in one click, the shark's mad frenzy ended. Vance Flosenzia wrestled a bull shark and was able to give paramedics his nephew's arm to be reattached in surgery. I can't say I expected less from the Florida man, but honestly, he wins Uncle of the Year.
Florida people are a different breed, bro. They ain't got it all up there. Hey, it came in handy this time, though. It did come in handy this time, because
Kudos.
I don't know if I could do something like that. I can't swim anyway, so I ain't getting in the water.
I was say I feel like that's like all of it because you can't. Yeah.
Oh, so you think I'll do some shit like that?
If it's like your nephew or your son, yeah. You don't. I feel like in situations you don't really think. You just.
That's what a lot of people. But shit, it's a shark, bro.
So you ain't about to take my son or my nephew? Child, that day a miracle may happen, and I may be like, look, learn how to swim on the spot. I don't know. You just never know.
The Uno reverse incident. In 2024, a 35-year-old railway worker in India was just trying to get some sleep after a long shift. It was the middle of the night, and he was passed out on his bed when he felt something crawling up his leg. He woke up and saw a snake,
It's a snake.
but not just any snake. An extraordinarily venomous one that was assumed to be a crate or a cobra. some of the deadliest reptiles on the planet. He stared at the snake. It stared back. He continued staring, and so did the snake. And then it bit him. Now, most people would have panicked, called for help, or maybe tried driving toward a nearby hospital. But this guy just had to be different. Something inside him snapped, and before the snake could slither away, he grabbed the animal with his bare hands, and, he bit it.
What?
Yeah, multiple times. He chomped down twice on a reptile that is venomous enough to end the lives of 20 humans with a single bite. It tried wriggling out of his teeth, but he munched on it like it was a piece of jerky, effectively crushing it. Later on, the man was rushed to the hospital and given an antivenom so that he could recover from the bite. He later on told reporters that, in some parts of India, there's a superstition that biting a snake transfers the venom back to the animal, so that it'll pass away instead of you. So, who knows? Maybe the superstition actually worked.
You're
Or maybe he
right.
just needed an excuse for his revenge.
That's a little different from me. I ain't never heard nothing like that
Whatever
before.
works.
Hey, you know they say if a dog bites you, bite it back. I swear. Have you ever heard of that?
I mean, I've seen people probably do that before.
Like bite them on the ear, they. If a dog be aggressive and try to bite you, they like,
Bite them back, huh?
yeah. They don't like their own medicine. That's what I heard. You know what I'm saying? Hey,
I ain't never tried it.
I don't know why they ain't tried in Cujo. I haven't watched Cujo in so long.
So long, child.
He was a 69-year-old Alaskan hunter, and on November 1st, 1999, he was out in the wilderness doing what he'd done for decades. Hunting. He knew the woods, and more importantly, he knew how to handle himself. Him and 3 other hunters set out to catch a black-tailed deer, but due to the windy weather, it was extraordinarily hard to sneak up on
I ain't
one.
never seen one though.
So they split up into groups of 2. Later on, after hunting for what felt like hours, the man and his partner became frustrated because they still hadn't caught the deer. So he came up with a plan. He told his partner to split up with him and said, "If I let out a shot, you come to my noise. But if you let out a shot, then I'll come to your noise." His partner nodded in agreement, but the only issue is that his partner was also wearing a heavy-duty hat with thick ear flaps that muffled the sound of pretty much everything outside. The man split up from his teammate, and within just a bit, he found the deer they were trying to hunt all day. He took aim, marking a successful hunt for him and his crew. He waited for his partner to come, but it didn't happen. He began hooting like an owl a few times to draw attention, but his partner still didn't show up. The man rolled his eyes in annoyance, took off his rifle, and put it beside a tree. He then decided to butcher the deer meat by himself, and after cutting away at it for a while, the man heard a twig snap behind him. Feeling relieved that his partners finally showed up, he turned around to greet his crew. A brown bear stands at about 10 feet tall, weighs about 1,000 pounds, and runs as fast as a car on a street. Unfortunately for this man, it wasn't his crew members that showed up, but instead, the bear. The hunter froze when he saw it. The distance between the two of them was about 30 feet away, and the distance between him and his rifle was only 2 feet. But the bear let out a roar, and it charged at him so fast that it was impossible for him to even think about trying to grab that weapon. He only had one option available, his buck knife. He dropped his deer meat and quickly grabbed the blade from his pocket, and right as he pulled it out, the man-beast was already right in front of him. The hunter aimed to slash at the bear's open mouth, but he missed and accidentally sliced its face instead. Angering the bear, it crushed his arm with its teeth, tearing off his skin and exposing his bone. The hunter screamed in pain, and the full-grown bear pushed him down to the ground, pinning him into a death grip. While it twisted away at the hunter's arm, he quickly used his free hand to try to poke the bear's eye out with his thumb. But it began thrashing him around, causing him to miss continuously. The man switched gears and instead took his finger and jammed it deep into the bear's ear canal, rupturing its eardrum. The beast let go of him and recoiled in confusion and annoyance. It then let out another 100 to 120 decibel roar and charged at the hunter again. The man was still on his back, so he desperately kicked the bear square in the throat, making it stumble as he hopelessly scrambled back to his feet. He was covered in blood, with an arm that was completely mangled and a bear that was charging at him again to finish him off for good. The man's mind raced, and his thoughts became a blurry panic. He was actually getting eaten alive by a bear, and he was running out of options for survival. Acting quickly, he fell onto his butt and stretched out his leg to use it as bait for the bear to bite onto and be distracted with. This would prove to be a terrible decision, because instead of just biting the lower end of his leg, it actually chomped down on his thigh, giving it complete control over his entire body. The bear began to shake the man around like a rag doll, thrashing his body around and bashing his skull on the floor, nearby trees and rocks, causing serious damage. The hunter couldn't see a single thing. His ears gotten blocked from the extreme trauma he was suffering, and he was losing consciousness. Nonetheless, his adrenaline gave him enough energy to power through the bear's thrashing and to plow his buck knife countless times into the beast's thick, furry neck. The bear dropped the man and backed away as it bled from its neck with his knife stuck in it. The man stood up on one foot with his body exposed, showing both muscle and bone, but he fell into a delirium and began screaming at the bear. Reports mentioned that he began desperately shouting something to the lines of "God is on my side" or "The Lord is with me." The bear charged at him again, and with one good arm, he punched the bear square in the snout repeatedly, causing the disoriented animal to collapse on the ground. The hunter collapsed on the ground with the bear, then quickly scrambled to his feet to grab his rifle. Each time he stood up, he fell. But finally, he got to his weapon. At this point, his vision was blurry, his eyes were covered in blood, his hearing was muffled, and he was on the brink of passing out. He stood over the bear's body with his weapon, aimed it at the bear, and then tried to shoot it. However, nothing happened. He quickly looked at his rifle and realized the flesh hanging off of his body had jammed the gun. The bear began groaning and slowly getting up again. He tirelessly pulled the flesh out, then aimed the weapon at the bear again. He was victorious, but then he immediately collapsed to the ground. The man could barely stand. He dragged himself across the snowy forest until he reached the beach. Sticks and branches tore at his already mangled body as he crawled. Each time he was about to lose consciousness from the sheer amount of pain he was in, he'd quickly grab a chunk of ice-cold snow and shove it into his mouth to shock him back awake. When he made it to the snowy beach, he finally saw his team. Horrified with what they saw, they ran to the man's disfigured body to help him out. Drenched in blood, the only thing the man said before passing out is "please." This is the story of Gene Moe, an Alaskan huntsman. After receiving multiple skin grafts and about 1,000 stitches, he survived and made a full recovery from this nightmare. And despite the trauma, Gene kept on hunting well into his 70s. He credited his survival to God, and he would go on to live a full life till 2024, where he passed away peacefully at 93. The wilderness is extraordinarily dangerous, but honestly, the moral of today's story is, don't mess with Russian grandmas, don't mess with Florida men, and especially don't mess with any Alaskan Christian dudes that have a bear hanging up on their wall. Now, go and have a happy day.
Rest in peace to Gene. He lived a long life.
Yeah,
That is chill.
I would never want to have to experience nothing like that.
Right?
I mean, golly, you talking about something. Whew. Shout out to him, though.
Gene said, "It's not how I'm about to go out, Chad."
What you said? He said, not today. Not today. Not on my watch. Not on my watch. Not on my time. But hey, y'all spam us up in the comments, man. Let us know y'all thoughts in the comments for us down below. But until next time, y'all know how it go, man. I do go by the name DJ New Kid Assist.
Sierra Nicole.
We are.
Kid and C.
We out.
Go and get it, ain't no time to kick it. Got a stack and flip for my foes. Dollar, dollar,